Hello, everybody. Welcome to an interview with special students. And of course, we have a special student with us right now. I have in front of me, I have Maricruz. She was a student with me. Oh, actually, Maricruz, I should have done that before I started this. Should have calculated how long you were with me. Maricruz, do you know how long you were with me? Was it 2 years or 3 years?
Last 3 years.
3 years? Yeah, I think it was
3 years.
3 years. But it was quite a while. So yes, Maricruz was with me for 3 years. That's why I wanted to do an interview with her because yeah, she was with me for a long time. So if somebody knows how I teach, and if somebody can tell me what it's like to learn English with me, then it's gonna be Maricruz. And Maricruz is also very special to me because she started in pre-intermediate a long time ago. I think she spent like 1 year in pre-intermediate, something like that, and then she did 2 years in intermediate with me. So, Maricruz, I guess to start us off, how are you? How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Everything is okay right now. So I'm ready.
That's good. And it's interesting because Maricruz, she stopped taking classes a few months ago. Was it like 2 or 3 months ago? She stopped taking classes because she's been working hard ever since Maricruz has been my student. She was working hard. I think when you started classes with me, you were working at a company, and I think you told me you were working at that company for like 7 years, and then you worked for them for another few more years. Actually, maybe that's the first question. How long did you work at that company? When you first started with me, what was the company that you were working for? How long had you been working for them for?
For about 8 years.
Yeah, 8 years. It was a long time. So ever since I'd known Mary Cruz, she'd been working at that company. I don't know. Are you able to tell us what you did at the company? What was your responsibilities?
Well, in the beginning, I was a junior developer, but over the time, I get more responsibilities. And then I was a project leader.
It's kind of funny. I remember, I think in the middle of your time with me, I remember one of your coworkers that you liked. I remember you liked this coworker that you liked. I think they got fired. I think that's what you told me. They got fired, right?
Yeah.
Okay, they got fired. And then the company, they didn't hire our replacements. So then they gave more responsibility to Mary Cruz. So I remember you were a little bit frustrated about that. But I think you stayed with the company for another year and then you finally decided to take a break and you traveled. And I haven't heard about this. So, because I remember you went to Europe, I think last year for the first time, right? For 1 month?
For 15 days, I think so,
Yes.
last year.
Yeah, last year, 15 days. So it's very popular right now with Mexicans, it seems. So it's one of those big like European tours. So you go to different cities in Europe. So which cities did you visit in Europe when you went there for the first time?
I visited Madrid,
Mhm.
um, Paris, um, Rome, and other cities in Italy.
Mhm. Oh, wait. Yeah. So it'd be Italy. Yeah. So Spain, Italy. Did you go to Netherlands too or no? Can't remember. Germany, Netherlands?
No,
No? Okay.
that's,
All right. So yeah, that was your first time to Europe. I remember you were very happy with your trip. You liked going to Europe a lot.
yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, you quit your job at the company that you worked for 8 years, and this time you went to Europe for 1 month, right?
for 45 days.
Ooh, 45 days.
45.
Yeah. I was so yeah. Tell me, because I you haven't told me about this. I haven't seen you since had your trip. So yeah, tell me about your trip. Was it another like big tour, or did you have more freedom where you're by yourself and you traveled to where you wanted to?
I did by myself, and uh, I was very nervous because I traveled alone, and I didn't talk anyone,
Mhm.
even my parents.
Oh, you didn't. Oh, you didn't tell your parents that you're going to Europe?
Yeah, I told them I think 1 week before my trip.
Okay.
So
I
yeah,
can't imagine Latino parents being very happy to have their daughter say, "Oh, by the way, in 1 week, I'm gonna go to Europe." Yeah. Or I don't know, were they excited? Were they mad? Were they happy? What was their response when you told them you were going to Europe for 45 days?
they were a little bit concerned because I
Yeah.
was traveling alone,
Yeah.
but my mother didn't believe that I was traveling alone. So in the beginning, she was so nervous too.
Okay.
But when I sent pictures,
Mhm.
uh, she was better.
Yeah, she felt better about it. Okay. All right. So tell us about the trip. Where did you go to first?
London,
To London. All right. How long did you stay in London?
just 3 days, and then I went to Scotland, to
Okay.
Edinburgh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
How long in Edinburgh?
just I think 3 days,
2 days. Okay, so
and
yeah.
then I went to Belgium. I went
Mm-hmm.
to Brugge,
Mm-hmm.
Ghent, and Brussels.
How long did you stay in Belgium? Was that like a week?
No, just 4 days.
Okay, quick. All
Yeah.
right. After that, where'd you go?
And then I went to Germany. In Germany, I was in Hamburg today,
Okay.
2 days, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to Berlin,
Okay.
3 days.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to Poland.
Okay.
And in
Uh,
Poland, I was in Krakow
mm-hmm.
for 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to, no, I went to Warsaw 3 days,
Mm-hmm.
and then Krakow other 3 days.
Okay.
And then I went to, I don't remember, I think I went to Hungary.
Uh-huh.
I was in Budapest about 4 days,
Mm-hmm.
3 or 4 days. And then I went to Prague.
Mm-hmm.
I think uh, Budapest it's better than Prague, but
Yeah.
anybody, I mean, everybody like Prague.
Yeah, yeah, people always talk. I've heard, yeah, many people talk about Budapest, but usually people like, Russians, Europeans, foreigners, always, oh, Prague is like the best. But yeah, I'm, I don't know. It's your decision, your opinion. Yeah, you say that Budapest is better than Prague. All right. Now, after that, where'd you go?
Afterwards,
After, yeah.
I went to Bratislava. Bratislava, I don't remember the name. In uh, the other part next to Czech, Czech
That's it,
Republic.
Slovakia. Is it Slovakia?
Yeah, Slovakia.
Slovakia. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
And then I went to Germany. No,
Again?
no, I went to uh, Austria.
Uh-huh.
I don't remember the capital name.
Vienna.
Yeah, Vienna.
Uh-huh.
And then I went to Germany again,
Mhm.
but I was in Munich
Okay.
for 3 days, no, for 2 days,
Uh-huh.
because I did a circuit. So
Okay.
I was uh, going to Madrid to come to Mexico. So I was in
Okay.
Munich and then to Milan.
Uh-huh.
And then I went to Marseille
Mm.
in France. In
Okay.
France.
Marseille.
And,
Marseille.
yeah, Marseille.
Okay, Marseille.
And then I went to Barcelona and
Mm-hmm.
Madrid and
Uh-huh.
finally Mexico.
Okay. All right. So started in London and ended in Madrid.
Yeah.
That's quite the trip. And were you traveling by train the whole time?
No, I was,
By bus? Oh,
yeah,
okay. Yeah. All right.
it's
Uh,
cheaper than
cheaper?
train.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because the train, when I was in Sweden, I took the train a few times to a few different countries, and the train was nice. I didn't even know there was a bus transportation in between cities in Europe. Okay. Because actually, many Latinos are surprised, but I think the buses in Latin America are pretty good. Like for example, going Guadalajara, Mexico City, or Mexico City to Puebla, you can get a pretty nice bus. You get the executive seat on the, second deck. It's not that bad. Where the buses better, the same, or worse than the Mexican buses between cities.
I think it's the same, but many people don't like because they say it's very uncomfortable. But for me, it's more or less the same.
I think you're used to it too, because yeah, again, when you're in classes, you always told me how you go back home to visit your family, and you usually take the bus from
Yeah.
Mexico City to Puebla. Oh, we never talked about that. Well, I guess we're talking about your trip first. Oh yeah. Let's go back to your trip first, and then we'll talk about where you're from, because people might be thinking, "Oh, where's Maricruz from?" Well, we now know she's from Mexico, and I've told you guys that she lives in Mexico City, but she's originally from Puebla. But we'll talk more about that in a second. All right. Well, I got to ask you. That was a big trip, and I'm pretty sure everybody, your family, your friends, asked you as well. So, what was your favorite part of the trip? Was there a favorite city, a favorite place that you visited?
I think my favorite place was Edinburgh.
Edinburgh, really? It's beautiful architecture. I never been there, but I think I've heard it
Yeah,
had
it's
nice
like
architecture. Yeah.
many castles,
Yeah.
like,
Mhm.
like a medieval place.
Mhm.
Very
But
nice.
well, I think a lot of I can't remember if it's Glasgow or Edinburgh, but I know J.K. Rowling, the author for Harry Potter, she was inspired by many, castles and places. And then she also lives in Scotland, J.K. Rowling. So yeah. Actually, that's a surprising answer. I think a lot of people would say, oh, she's gonna say, like, Barcelona, Madrid, London. But Mary Crew says Edinburgh. Interesting choice. Now, what about, well, because you're Mexican, Mexicans have good food. So did you try a lot of food? Was there a favorite food, at least favorite food that you tried while you were on your trip?
Well, I was traveling like a backpacker, so
Yeah.
I had to save a lot of money,
Yeah,
and
you can be spending a lot of money. Yeah.
but I think my favorite food was something called um, I don't remember the name, but it's like a soup
Okay.
with meat
Hmm.
and vegetable.
Okay.
It's in Mexico we have something similar,
Okay.
but obviously I prefer the Mexican food. So
Yeah, of course. Oh, what's the soup called in Mexico?
um,
Pozole?
no, it's um, like well, my mother called desmole, but many
Oh, desmond.
people,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, many people knows that dish like mole de olla,
Uh-huh. Okay.
similar.
I don't know if I've tried it. Mexico has so many
Oh, yeah,
dishes I haven't tried.
I remember goulash, the dish.
Goulash. Ah, goulash. Oh, yeah, I know. I think I know goulash. Okay. Yeah, it's like a very thick soup, right? Almost like a stew.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, yeah. Yeah, goulash, good choice. Yeah, I think we got a little bit of that in Canada. A little bit of that sometimes in Canada. All right. That was your favorite food. Yeah, was there a least favorite place? Because obviously you went to a lot of places. Was there one place where you said, I don't really like this place at all. I'm glad I'm leaving.
Mm, I think I'm sure there were some places. I think Marcel,
Marseille? You didn't like Marseille that much? Yeah.
not very much.
No.
Um, Milan, Milan,
Oh, really?
because
I want to go to Milan, but so you're saying you didn't like it that much?
for me it was boring.
Yeah? Okay.
Not much, not much. I don't know, many places to do
Okay, not
to go. Yeah,
not many places to go to see. All right. Yeah, so you're traveling as a backpacker, so you're staying in hostels the whole time?
yeah, hostels.
Okay. All right, yeah. I don't know any. What, the hostels were good, or were there some strange stories from the hostels?
Well, most of them were good, but for example, Marseille were horrible because
Yeah.
there was an internet,
Oh,
and
okay.
I don't know, the place was weird.
Okay. So yeah, this sounds like Marseille is not the best place to go for hostels and for traveling. Not really the best spot. All
And
right. You heard?
in the UK,
Yeah.
this is very expensive, so the hostels are very expensive, and many people in every room, so it's a
Mhm.
crazy thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So not the best quality hostels in the UK. All right. Good. So yeah, sounds like a very interesting trip. Yeah, because I remember when you were in the classes. Yeah, you were talking about this trip for quite a while. You said, I'm gonna quit my job in a few months, and I'm gonna do something. You didn't know what it was. Yeah, when did you decide you're gonna do the trip? Was it after you stopped taking the classes or before you stopped taking the classes?
After,
After, yeah. Because I remember, I think the last day of classes, I think I asked you, so what are you gonna do? And you said, I don't know yet. I'm gonna figure it out. So was it a very last minute decision? Like, when did you buy your tickets? Was it like 2 weeks before, a month before? When did you buy your tickets to go?
I think 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks before? Oh, okay.
before, yeah, 2 weeks
Ah,
before.
yeah, very last minute, very last minute. All right. And you were gone for 45 days. So, because yeah, while you took the class with me, you always had the same apartment. Did you have to leave your apartment or are you still at the same apartment?
Right now, I'm in my parents' house.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, so you stopped your contract with like
Yeah,
you don't live there anymore? Okay.
no.
All right. Good. Well, yeah, so you had the other job, and when I sent you a message to do the interview, you told me that you got another job. So is it similar to what you're doing before, or is it something different?
It's the same, but in a different company.
Yeah.
Well,
Ah,
with less responsibilities.
yeah, so yeah, you're kind of hoping for less responsibilities. All
Yes.
right.
Right now, I'm
So
very relaxed in this
so it's a lot more
company.
relaxed. Okay.
Yeah,
I know
definitely.
that of course people always talk about the pay. Is the pay the same? Is the pay better? Is the pay worse?
The pay, it's the same.
Same? Okay. All
Not
right.
very,
So
very
same.
good.
So same but less responsibilities.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's better. Yeah. It's better. Okay. So yeah, you're back at home. You're in Puebla. So you're gonna go back to Mexico City? Because yeah, when you were with me, you were in Mexico City the whole time. You're gonna go back to Mexico City, or do you want to stay in Puebla?
So I think it is time. I prefer to be in Puebla, but maybe in the future I'm gonna back to Mexico City.
Okay, so like for now, next few months, the next year, just gonna stay home in Puebla, and then you'll decide later if you're gonna go back to Mexico City or not. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about your early life right now. Uh, so you were in Mexico City. I don't think I ever asked you. Did you end up in Mexico City? Was it because of work, or is it because you went there to study? How did you end up in Mexico City?
Because of work. Yes,
Yeah.
because before the pandemic, I had to go to the office.
Okay. So basically, were you in Puebla before you got the job? Like, did you get the job? You were in Puebla, and they said, okay, you got the job, but you have to move to Mexico City.
Yes, it was
Oh,
like that.
okay. All right. Mm, interesting. So, and do you like Mexico City? Because yeah, you're from Puebla. It seems like you don't hate your family. You seem to like being from Puebla. I don't know, some Mexicans don't like Mexico City. Some of them do. Do you like Mexico City? What are your thoughts on the capital of Mexico?
Well, I like Mexico City because there are many things to do there.
Hmm.
The only thing that I don't like is the traffic.
Yeah, the traffic's really bad.
Yeah, but the rest of that, I love Mexico City.
I like Mexico City too. Well, yeah, many gringos like Mexico City. I think many Mexicans aren't very happy that gringos like Mexico City, but yeah, Mexico City is a nice city. I like Mexico City. Good food. Things work more or less correctly. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. All right. Yeah, what else do I want to ask you? Well, you're from Puebla and you worked so you work as a developer, right?
Yeah.
So did you study that in university? What did you study in university?
Uh, could you
What did
repeat?
you study in university? Was it like what is it called in Spanish? You guys call it like sistemas? Like was it like the systems engineering or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Studied that. You studied that in because when I say Puebla, there's one thing about Mexico is that you have like Puebla's the state and you have Puebla the city. So yeah, you're not from Puebla the city, you're from a town in Puebla the state, correct?
Yes, from a small village, so
Hmm.
I live in the countryside.
So I'm curious. So you're a developer. You studied system engineering. So did you study that in the village or did you move to Puebla to study at a university? Where did you study systems engineering?
I don't know because I like computers, but the other profession that I was to study was something related to the nature,
Mhm.
you know. But that career is not in Puebla, so well, I think in the capital, but it was hard to afford for that career because I had to move. So I decided to try with system engineer.
And so yeah, you could study that in your, did you study that in your village or was it like in a town close to your village?
In a city near here.
Okay. All right. So yeah, so every day when you're in university, every day you had to go to school. How long was the commute to school? Was it like 30 minutes, an hour to get to the town?
It's about an hour from here, but I started living with an auntie, And
Yeah.
then my sister went to live near, so I was to live with my sister.
Mm. All right. Well, so yeah, we got a whole bunch of information about Maricruz. So I want to start to ask you just about learning English. So let's start at the very beginning. When did you start learning English?
Seriously, I think, well, since I was in high school,
Okay.
I had classes, but it was for to, no, it was a class, but I think I didn't learn anything. And then in the in the college, I think I took like 3 courses, but I didn't practice, so I forgot everything, and it was just grammar, so I couldn't talk. Just I could read, but I couldn't talk. So then I bought a course. It was good, but I couldn't practice speaking.
Was it like
So
a video course or a reading course? What kind of a course was it?
it was a course with videos, with text, and with um, eh, conversations,
Mhm.
but it was British English, so
Oh,
it was a little
mm,
difficult.
no wonder. Well, did you choose it because it was British English, or did you get it and then you realized, oh, this is British English. Why did I choose British English?
Well, in the beginning, I didn't think nothing. I was just uh, trying to learn something.
Yeah, it's like,
So
yeah, you weren't even thinking like, oh, I should learn American English, not British English. You're just like, yeah, it's an English course. I'm gonna take an English course. I want to learn something. Okay.
yeah,
All right.
but sometimes it was weird because there are many words different. Like for example, they say flat, and for me it was what is a flat, right?
Yeah, that's the example I always use. Yeah, I think I had a student one time who learned British English, and they kept on saying flat, and I told him, okay, yeah, if you're learning American English, then nobody's gonna understand if you say flat because we say apartment in American English. All right. So you took
And
that course? Yeah.
the other thing was it was a course designed for people from Spain. So
Okay.
sometimes they say words that in Mexico we don't use it. So, for example, they say mofeta. I didn't know what was a mofeta. So,
What is mofeta? What is that? Mofeta.
it's, zorrillo. In Mexico, we say zorrillo.
Okay, yeah.
In Spanish, in English, I don't remember.
I don't even know if I know. Have to look it up after. Yeah, that'd be a bit confusing. So basically, British English explained from Spanish from Spain perspective. A little bit complicated. All right, took that course. Any other courses?
No, I think I watched YouTube videos, and
Yeah.
then I found your channel. So after that, I wanted to buy a course, the English for Latinos.
Okay. Yeah.
I took the test,
Mhm.
and according to the test, I could try it with the classes. So that was I signed up with your classes.
Smart decision. Yes. Yeah. For anybody watching this, Latin America, Maricruz. I always feel bad for Latinos because there's a lot of scams in Latin America, and I always people are always a little paranoid that someone's going to scam them. I always tell people, like, look, I'm not trying to force you to take one of my courses. If you don't know what course to take, just take the test on the site and it'll tell you your level. And then from there, you can make an educated decision. So, to be honest, Marcus, I'm very happy because many people, for whatever reason, they don't take the test and then they start asking me questions. And the easiest thing to do is just take the test. They'll tell you your level, and then you can, like I said, make an educated decision. All right. Well, actually, that was one of my questions. I'm gonna ask you how you found me. So basically, you took that British English course, and then you're watching videos about English on YouTube. I know we like watching. What kind of videos were they? Were they, videos telling stories in English, or were they videos about English grammar? What kind of videos were you watching at that time?
It was about grammar. Yeah,
Okay.
I think the things that I learned in that course, they had a section with daily expressions,
Okay.
and I think it's the only thing that I learned in that course.
Yeah. Yeah. But, yeah, but the videos on YouTube, were they very similar? Were they about grammar, or were you looking for different types of videos when you're
For
learning
different
English?
words like pronunciation.
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah. So you found my videos. I know it was a long time ago. I'm guessing it would have been either 3 years ago or 4 years ago. Yeah, because English for Latinos one, I released that I think in 2019. So I'm guessing that's when Maricruz was started following me. Yeah. So the first video that you saw of me, was it me teaching pronunciation? Was it teaching vocabulary? Do you remember what video or what the video was about? What topic it was about?
I don't remember, but I think it was about pronunciation.
Pronunciation. Yes, I love teaching pronunciation. All right. So that's good to know. So Maricruz, you found me on YouTube, and then yeah, you wanted to take English for Latinos one, but you took the test and was pre-intermediate. Yes. So yeah, you ended up taking my pre-intermediate group classes. 1 second. So Maricruz is getting ahead of me with my questions right now. I've got to make sure that I asked the right question next. Uh, okay, so you found me on YouTube. Mm, what was the main reason that you wanted to take English at that time? Was it, yeah, to get better at pronunciation? Was it to get better at speaking? Actually, I have a question here I haven't asked you, so maybe that's the best question to ask is why was it important to learn English at that time? Like, was there, what was the reason? Was it for work? Was it just to travel to Europe? What was the main reason for wanting to, begin speaking English and begin improving your English?
Well, in the beginning was because I wanted to get a better job,
Mhm.
but right now it's more because I love traveling. Actually, I'm planning a trip for the end of the year.
Another trip. Oh, man.
Yeah, I want to travel to Asia.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I was traveling this time
Mhm.
in my last trip, um, I I had the opportunity to practice my speaking, but sometimes was hard because many people speak with British accent, and I
Yeah.
think the most difficult accent for me was Turkish because they
Okay.
have a strong accent,
Oh,
and
yeah,
didn't
because
understand
you didn't go to Turkey. I'm guessing the Turks in Germany, lots of Turks in Germany. Were they those Turks, or were there Turks everywhere that you travel?
everywhere.
Everywhere. Okay, there are
Yeah,
lots of Turks everywhere.
everywhere.
Okay, yeah, okay. So yeah, whenever you had to talk to Turks, they had a very heavy accent in English. What? Uh, well, tell us about that, because obviously Europe, the only country that has English as an official language. Well, there's a few, I guess, it'd be Ireland, Scotland, England, Wales. But how much did English help you? Did it help you a lot while you were traveling, or did it help you as much? Like, just from your own experience, were you happy like that your English was able to help you? Or like, it's not really useful. English is really isn't useful when I'm traveling.
I think it was very useful. In the beginning, I didn't need it because when when they saw my passport, they talked to me in Spanish.
Okay,
So, but there are countries where they don't speak Spanish, even they don't speak English, and that was difficult. But you always find someone who speaks English, so I think it's very useful.
so it's like a English is like an emergency tool. Whenever you
Yeah.
have an emergency, you can find somebody who can speak English and can try to help you. Yeah. All right. Well, I guess going back to the classes now. So, uh, you decided to take the classes. So yeah, I think you said the thing you wanted to improve the most. Well, the reason you took classes was at the beginning was to for better job opportunities. I think many Latinos do for the same thing. Uh, And was there a specific aspect of English that you wanted to improve? Was it speaking? Was it listening, reading, pronunciation? What did you want to improve the most when you started taking the classes?
I think it was my listening because in the beginning I didn't understand anything, so I could read, but when I tried to listen, I couldn't understand anything, and that was very frustrated. So that was my first goal.
Improve your listening. Yeah, and you started in pre-intermediate. Uh, well, okay, you were with me for 3 years. Maybe talk about your journey with listening. So I don't know, did you notice after a few months that your listening improved? Did you notice after a year? How long would you say it took you to finally feel like, oh, I'm starting to listen good. I'm starting to get better at listening. Was there a moment or specific amount of time that it took you to get to a level where you felt good about your listening?
I think it was like 3 or 4 months after I started in your classes, and I realized because I think the first month I was taking classes with a woman. I don't remember her
Yeah,
name.
yeah,
Yeah. And but in the beginning, I just took the classes, but I didn't study it by myself. But then, a few months after, I decided to do it better. So I practiced more and repeat the classes. And then one day I was watching a video just to practice my listening, and I realized that I could understand I don't know, the 80% more than I before.
yeah, compared to before. Yeah, actually, I think for me, that's good advice for all students, especially if they take my classes or my courses, is just because of course, if you take my classes, you probably notice your listening's improving, but you almost have to give yourself tests. So if you're watching videos on YouTube, once a week at least, you'll start to probably see, oh, I think I'm starting to understand more and more English. So yeah, that's really good to know that you're doing that, and that's when you realize that your listening was improving. Now, so I've had students give me different opinions about this. So I'm not going to tell you what they said because I want you to have just a blank slate when I ask you. So from my classes, what was the biggest thing that improved your listening from your own experience? Yeah, was there one thing that you're like, oh, is it because of this that my listening improved? Or do you think, oh, just like everything worked together and my listening improved? Or was it, yeah, one class, one thing that really helped your
Yeah,
listening?
it was pronunciation
Mhm.
because sometimes we know the words. For example, I don't know the word apple. I don't know. I know the word, but if I don't know the pronunciation, I don't know. I can listen when something is saying the word. So for me, it was pronunciation class.
Right. I'm glad you said it because that's what most students say. They always say, yeah, my listening improved. And yeah, it was because of the pronunciation. And that's what I always tell people too, is that if you learn the real pronunciation, whether it's just like of one word or just, how to put a sentence together like a gringo, then it becomes easier to, yeah, listen to how gringos speak when they're speaking English because, yeah, you now know what the real pronunciation is. Yeah, do you agree with that? Is it something like that or would you say something else?
I think the practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like pronouncing good and then it trains your mind and then your mind starts to learn how to listen better as well.
Yeah. For example, I remember that in the beginning you said makes sense, and I could understand what you said. So over the time, I realized that you said those words. So now I can understand what he's saying.
Yeah. All right. And because thing you said was, yeah, you didn't really notice your listening. Yeah, it didn't really click until 4 months afterwards. And I've had other students say this, so I'm curious what your opinion is. Was it difficult the first month? Because yeah, my methodology, we'll talk about that pretty soon, but my methodology is very different. was it difficult, the first month, the first 2 months to be motivated, to get used to the methodology, to, I don't know, believe in yourself? Because I remember I had one student, I don't know if you took classes with her or not, but she was from Bogota and she did an interview last year with me, same interview that you're doing right now. And she said the first month, she was a little bit unsure. Like she took the classes, she said, "Ugh, I don't know if this is really for me. I'm gonna take another month." And then she just kept on taking month after month, and then she really started to see improvements. So yeah, the first month, the first 2 months, were they difficult for you, or were you already planning to, keep on taking classes no matter what?
Oh, it was very difficult because I couldn't understand the most of things that you said. So it was very difficult.
Yeah. But I don't know, was there anything that kept you motivated? Was it more like you just telling yourself I'm gonna get better, or was there something that I said that made you keep on, pushing forward to keep on learning? Yeah. I don't know. How did you get past that? How did you get past the, feeling like you didn't understand anything and to keep on learning, keep taking classes?
I think it was because most of the times I attended the classes, so I got used to the methodology, and then it was because um, I could understand what everything was saying. So I think that was easier.
Actually, I don't think I've ever asked anybody this question, but you talked about something. You talked about getting used to the methodology. So what was more difficult? Was it the methodology or was it the English? Because the methodology, because I have different classes. I got the reading class, the pronunciation class, the singing class, the their speaking class. Oh no, I think I said that already. But anyway, I had different classes. So was it getting used to how I did every class that was the most difficult, or was it the content, the English of the class that was the most difficult, or was it both?
I think was the content. I mean, for example, for me, the most difficult thing was presentation because I had to listen the movies or the videos and I couldn't understand what they said. So I think it was the English, not the methodology.
Okay, all right. I think I usually leave this question to the end, but we're talking about it right now, so I'm gonna ask you right now. Many people ask me about my methodology, and it's always difficult to tell them how my methodology is. So I always ask my students, because maybe one day, Maricruz, I'll get close to being able to explain my methodology perfectly to a Latino who doesn't, you know, follow me that much on social media. But so in your own words, if you could, you have a friend or a family member who's asking you, okay, what is Profe Kyle's methodology? In a few sentences, how would you describe my methodology to somebody who really doesn't know who I am or what I do?
Um, well, I'm not sure, but I think maybe it's not your methodology, it's your way to see or how we learn. And I think you can understand our needs. So, for example, um, you, I think you can see what is the problem when we can learn something because sometimes we confuse words or pronunciations or something like that.
Yeah, I had other students tell me a similar thing. So just being able to tell you guys, don't worry about it, don't be frustrated. It's normal that you're having problems with this, or you're having problems with this because in Spanish it's like this, and in English it's completely different. Little things like that, just being able to tell you guys why you're having problems and how to overcome them, and yeah, how to get better.
Yes, I think so. And I realized that, for example, when we had pronunciation class, you don't put more pressure on the person because it's when someone is speaking, everybody is listening. So I don't know, we get nervous. So I think your patience is one of the things.
I think I think because people on social media, they think I'm not very patient. It's kind of funny because people on social media think I'm not patient, but then my students, you guys always say, "Oh, like whenever I do the interviews, students always say, "Oh, you're very patient." I'm like, "Oh." So people on social media think I'm not patient, but yeah, you guys always say I'm very patient. Uh, yeah, and just for me, yeah, when you guys are learning, because I know it's a process. Like when it comes to pronunciation, for example, like I don't want to pressure you to be perfect because I know it takes time to get better at pronunciation. I know myself because, my Spanish isn't perfect. I gotta try to improve it somehow, and sometimes it takes a long time to improve things. I wanted to ask you, what was your favorite class? Was it pronunciation class or was it a different class that was your
Yeah,
favorite?
it was pronunciation class.
All right. Well, let's talk about this class quickly. I don't know if again somebody's asking you, oh, so that's Profe Kyle's methodology. Give me an example of a class. You say, oh, pronunciation class. How would you describe my pronunciation class to somebody? Is there something special about it that you would tell them?
Mm, well, I think it was when I realized that I was pronouncing, pronouncing something wrong, and you said the correct way to pronounce, and I was like, oh my god, I didn't realize that that word it was like that.
Uh, for me, that's a good feeling. Like, I learn other languages too. And for me, whether it's like Russian, Spanish, or Portuguese, and for me, when I realize that I'm mispronouncing something and then, somebody tells me that it's pronounced like this, I always think, oh my God, I gotta change that right away. Oh, so yeah, for me, it's always, I don't know if it's exciting because obviously you feel a little bit embarrassed when you mispronounce something. You're like, oh, I said that wrong for like 2 years, 3 years, something like that. But at the same time, you feel relieved because you now know, okay, now I know how I'm supposed to pronounce it.
Yeah, and my other favorite class was writing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, you
Because
did like right. Okay.
yes, because honestly, sometimes um, I did mistakes. I mean, in, the mistakes were with a purpose, because I was sure I was writing something wrong, but I did because you're explaining what was wrong.
Yeah.
So that was sometime because Google correct correct you. So it was easy to use the help, but uh, I didn't like it because in that way you don't know that you are doing something wrong. No,
Yeah. And like you don't know why you're doing it wrong, right? Like if you use
yeah,
Google, like it might correct you, but okay. But like why? Why is it that way? Uh, And of course, sometimes in class I would just say, I can't tell you guys why it's like that. Just sometimes in English, it's that way just because. So I always try to give you guys good answers, but yeah, sometimes it's yeah, just because.
yeah. So honestly, I made mistakes um, without without purpose.
Yeah, for no reason. They made mistakes for no
Yeah,
reason, and then you realize, oh, I I realized I was making mistakes. Yeah, so it seems like yeah, your two favorite classes, so pronunciation and writing. The reason that you like both classes so much was just because both classes made you realize what you were doing wrong and basically how to fix it right away. And yeah, I guess it felt like a relief to you to know how to do things correctly.
exactly. Yeah.
And actually, because writing isn't everybody's favorite class, but yeah, like you got really good. You got really good at writing, and by the end of the classes, you were doing a really good job. Because for anybody watching, there's a big thing with Latinos is lots. I told Maricruz this many times. Well, not just to her, just the whole class. I call it the oración latina. So it's like comma, 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 comma. And yeah, that's what I think the biggest thing that's happy with you, Maricruz, was that, yeah, you're starting to get like, wait, here's a period. I don't know. I think for many Latinos, I think it's not a big deal, but for gringos, it's a big deal. You know, knowing where to put a period, where to put a comma, how to end a sentence. Many Latinos don't know how to do it. And yeah, if you're learning English for professional reasons, knowing how to properly make a sentence when you're writing is extremely important, because if you write bad sentences in a resume, for example, in the email, ooh, gringos aren't going to be very impressed with your English. Not at all. All right. I think we're getting here pretty close to the end. There's a question I was going to ask you about. Oh, yeah, because you're one of the few students. I've had a few students. You're not the only one, but you're one of the few students who went from pre-intermediate to intermediate. And it's very confusing for people because in a traditional institute, students usually, 1 month is one level, a second month is a second level, third month is a third level. And with me, it's like for me, that works for beginners. It's okay for beginners because it kind of works. But once you get to a pre-intermediate, intermediate level, it's like everybody's different. Everything's going to depend on how much a student is studying, where they're living, if they have friends who are gringos, if they don't have friends. So I think in your case, I think you waited about a year, something like that, to go to intermediate level. I get maybe the first question about that. Uh, were you ever impatient? Like when you were waiting, like when you're in the pre-intermediate classes, were you ever like, I want to go to intermediate. I want to go to the next level. I don't want to be here. Or I don't know, did you just trust the process? So what was your mentality? 1 year taking pre-intermediate classes and nothing really happened. Did you ever think you were doing something wrong or you were not advancing? What was your thought process the whole time?
Well, sometimes I was a little bit desperate because sometimes I felt like I didn't have progress, but sometimes too, I realized that I was better than months uh, before. So I always try to be patient.
Yeah. Yeah, I know how that feels. Some days are good days. Some days feel, oh, I'm doing fantastic. Other days is like, nothing's working. Yeah, it's a very frustrating feeling. And because I never really told you, oh, soon you're gonna be intermediate. I think I just kind of said, Maricruz, I have an opening for intermediate. I think you're ready. Uh, when I told you that I wanted you to go to intermediate classes, I don't know, were you surprised? Were you happy? Were you nervous? How did you feel when I told you I wanted you to do intermediate classes?
Well, I was nervous and happy at the same time. I remember that I told you the first time I told you that I wasn't ready, but I think 2 months after that, I thought that if I didn't try it, um, uh, I mean, I never get better if I didn't try it.
Yeah, for sure. And I know for me as a professor, it's always a little bit nerve-wracking, as we say in English, from because yeah, pre-intermediate is I wish the transition was smoother, but kind of like you have to. It's kind of like teaching a baby how to swim. You just kind of throw them into the pool, and it's like, hey, I know you can swim. You're gonna swim. I have confidence in you. But of course, I know it's not gonna be the easiest thing in the world. So yeah, I want to ask you about that. The first month, first 2 months taking intermediate classes did you think, oh no, this is easier than I thought? Did you think, oh, it's too difficult? So how was your mentality? How was your psychology during, the first month, first 2 months taking intermediate classes? Was it okay? Was it difficult?
I think the first month was difficult. I think the first class was too much for me because I couldn't understand how everyone said.
Yeah.
I remember this woman, Jenny, I think so.
Oh yeah, Jenny. Oh yeah,
So,
Jenny. Yeah.
and I couldn't understand her accent. So
Okay, yeah.
yes, very difficult. Yeah,
Yeah. All right.
the first month I think was difficult.
Uh, at the same time, uh, yeah. So the first month was difficult, but did you quickly? 'Cause I don't know. I find with my students, well, the ones that do pre-intermediate and then intermediate, yeah, the first month is a little bit of a shock. I guess you say like a choque, like a choque. I don't know, not cultural, but choque de inglés, supongo. Yeah, so it's a big shock, but did you feel like you quickly assimilated to the more advanced English and to the students who were speaking more advanced English? Or yeah, was it just really difficult to really start to get used to more advanced English?
I think it was difficult, and I felt that everybody has a higher level.
Yeah.
So I think I felt like it wasn't my level, but over the time I realized that it was just patient again.
Mhm.
So yeah.
And how long do you think it took you to to feel comfortable, to feel like, oh, this is where I'm supposed to be? Was it after the first month, or did it take a few months to feel like, oh no, I'm supposed to be here?
I think after 3 or 4 months,
Yeah.
I felt more comfortable.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, that's good to know. All right. So we went from pre-intermediate to intermediate. Um, well, I have this question here. I think you already answered it, but I just want to ask one more time just in case. So I think it's good. Your answer gonna be listening, but you took the class for 3 years, and who knows? Maybe in the beginning it was listening, and then after taking classes for 3 years, you changed your answer. But yeah, what improved the most in the classes? Was it listening or was it something else?
Mm, yes, I think that's listening because in the beginning I can't understand anything. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So yeah, I was guessing it was listening, but just in case, something else. Okay. Yeah, listening, and of course, you talked about your writing. Your writing improved a lot. I agree with that. I think, uh, eh, yeah, again, Maricruz was one of the students who took the classes most for the most time with me. I think her, Sebastian. I don't know if Maricruz ever took classes with Sebastian, but Sebastian took classes about the same time as Maricruz. But yeah, so Maricruz, I'm pretty sure if I could find, her her first class from pre-intermediate, compared it to her last class, it'd be impressive. I'm gonna see if I can do it because I've changed a lot of things on my platform. I don't know if I can find that video from when it'd be like 2019, 2020. I can't remember when. Um, but it'd be interesting to see the improvement that Maricruz made. Uh, I think the last question, I'm just reminding, anything else I want to ask you about the classes? I don't think so. Uh, but I haven't asked this question to anybody. But I think it's an interesting question. So you stopped taking class with me, and when you first started taking the classes, you took them because you wanted to have better job opportunities. Now it's more because of traveling. So I'm just curious, just in the future, I'm not asking, do something with me. I'm just talking about in general. You have this English that you got from working hard and also taking class with me. Is there something else you want to do in English? Like, do you want to, I don't know, do an IELTS? Do you want to live in Canada or United States? Like, do you have future goals that you want to do in English? Or do you feel like, oh, no, this is more or less what I wanted. I just wanted to get a conversational level of English, and now I'm satisfied. I'm happy.
Well, I think I'm still thinking in get a job where they ask for English, so, high level English. And because I would like to have more conversations with people who always have been spoke in English. Because, for example, in my trip, I met people, but sometimes I can't understand what they say because they talk very fast. So that's one of the things that I would like to learn more English, because of the trips.
But yeah, I think the biggest thing, just want to, I guess you feel confident in your English now, which
Yeah.
is hopefully something I helped you with. That yeah, you want to start to give yourself more challenges. You want to be in an environment where they're speaking English more, and you want to be able to use the English that you now have yeah, in an English environment, right?
Yeah.
All right, good. All right. I think the last thing I want to ask you before we end this interview, I told you an hour, and it's been about an hour, so that's perfect. Give myself a pat on the back. Sometimes I talk too much, Maricruz, but so far we've done an hour. I think just overall general question, uh, is there any advice you would give somebody learning English or something you want to say about my classes? Yeah, anything. So any advice you'd give for somebody learning English, or if it's something else you want to say about my classes that you didn't say?
Well, I think it could be that repeat the classes because they are very useful and attend the classes. Sorry.
And then the class, yeah, that's good.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
effort. Yeah, okay.
yeah, I mean, I think everybody makes mistakes, like me, for example. But the thing is, try it.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. If you're gonna pay for classes, take the classes for sure. I think it's good advice, Mike, because it always surprises me. Somebody pays me money and then they don't come to classes. And like, well, yeah, you gotta use your money. Don't just pay me money and then don't take the classes. I want students in my classes taking the classes. I think I was gonna say one more thing. What was the first thing you talked about? You talked about, yeah, of course, take the classes and go to classes. Ooh, there's something about that I wanted to ask you about. Da, da, da. I forgot what it was, Mary Cruz. That makes me. I think it was a good question I want to ask you. Give me a second, see if I remember. Take the classes. I don't remember. Shoot, I was gonna ask you something good. All right, but I think that's all I got for now, Mary Cruz. Yeah, of course, for anybody listening, Mary Cruz said, don't be afraid to make mistakes. I think everybody says, I think anybody who learns any language, that's what they always say, don't be afraid to make mistakes. So hopefully everybody follows that advice. I want to thank Mary Cruz for being a great student of mine for such a long time. And yeah, I guess if anybody's watching this interview, until the end here, if you want information about the classes Mary Cruz took, just go to my website, profekyle.com. So yeah, Mary Cruz, thank you very much for taking the time to talk about the classes, talk about your life. And if you ever need anything, just send me a message on WhatsApp. And yeah, that's it. So, Mary Cruz, anything else before we end this?
It was nice to see you again.
Yeah. Of course, yeah, Mary Cruz took classes for 3 years. Yeah, yeah. I always feel sad. One of my students who has been with me for a long time stopped taking classes, but you know, you guys can't take class with me forever. I want you guys to be free. I want you guys to be happy with your English and start using it. So, but yeah, Mary Cruz, much success in the future. And like I said, if you ever need anything, just send me a message. So everybody, thanks for watching this interview. Mary Cruz, have a good night. Everybody, we'll talk to you soon. Good night, everybody. Bye.